I'm Pucci Cox,
And I'm Ryan Langdon.
and today we're at University of St. Mary's standing outside Xavier Hall.
The communications program here at the University of St. Mary has been here for 7 years and has gone on to produce several notable alumni.
And today we'll be interviewing 5 of those alumni: Andre Berry, Mel Roberts, Christopher Huslig, Clayton Stewart, and Rodney Smith.
And today we're going to be talking about Andre Berry and his time here at the University of St. Mary. Andre originally graduated in 2009 with criminology and business, and now he's working in different fields with acting and media as well as directing. Let's hear more about his story.
How do you think having a communications program when you were here would have helped you during your time here?
It would have given me another avenue to look at. So I actually got a degree in criminology that I've yet to use that degree. I've never gone to be a police officer or anything like that. So I'm more of a creative. So, having something like that where I could, just be able to do that and kind of see the different avenues I could take, I think would have been really awesome. Because I think a lot of times just with communications, people don't think that you can make a career out of it, or they don't think there's a lot of promise in it. So to be able to have it in front of you and gain the skills to go out into the real world and be able to show those skills and show that it's something that you can make a living off of, I think would have been phenomenal.
What's your overall outlook looking back and just the whole process that's brought you to where you are today?
One thing I really loved about St. Mary was that originally, it wasn't a school that I wanted to go to. There were other schools that I wanted to go to, but that was my path to go there. And one of the things that was kind of the theme of every year I was there was challenges. Facing challenges head on is really what St. Mary's taught me, was that, no matter how bad it gets, you can always get back up.
Another graduate from the University of St. Mary is Mel Roberts. Mel was a former JCOM president here at the University of St. Mary and is now a videographer for the Kansas City Royals as she continues to implement her journalism career in the real field today.
My main question is, were you part of the Journalism Communications Club here? And if so, how do you think that helped you get ready for going into a path where you are filming stuff like events like weddings and sports events and production?
I was. I did it for all the years at St. Mary's. I was the president the last year, and I think it helped me in a ton of ways. I think one is that staying curious and figuring out how you can use that club to your advantage to kind of help build your portfolio. I, went out of my way, not just doing stuff for like comm classes, but I did more. I'd go shoot basketball games, football games, do whatever I can. I shot Spire Fire, just trying to build the content that I wanted to be making, but also helping support the school. St. Mary's small. There's not a ton of like resources of getting, there's not a huge production, like big like a D1 school. They have like a ton of employees helping market the school. I was getting to shoot and stuff, and like some of my materials were being used to help market the school. So like and also just like help people learn what digital communications and the journalism club was. Like we were posting on social media all the time. We were going out our way and making videos and just anything that you can do that, I love making videos. So it was like passion projects for me, but like those things I put in my portfolio when I was getting hired to work at the Royals. So like those were things that at the time I didn't know that those would be resources that I'd be using to help me get a job, but they did. And think it showed like the wide variety of things that you can do. And also just built a lot of connections for me.
Next, we will be talking to Christopher Huslig, a 2024 communications graduate and the former JCOM president, who has now gone on to work in the field of journalism.
What is your favorite part about your job right now?
Honestly, I love going to court. Covering court stories is a lot of fun. It's very emotional in court. Like, that emotion it's fun to take that emotion that you feel in the courtroom and put it into words for other people to understand. Also, you learn a lot of things because sometimes you have to write stories on things you've never heard anything about. You don't know how it works. Just the ability to learn more things because you have to have an understanding to make it so other people can understand.
Can you tell us about finding a career in journalism?
You got to keep an open mind. I always wanted to do sports, and that's all I wanted to do. And so when I started doing job searches, it was kind of hard because I was only looking in one area. With journalism, it's all about getting into the door. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to start somewhere. Like doing news was not what I wanted to do out of college, but the opportunity arose and I took it because I our sports guys. I was talking to them the other day. One of them started out as a court reporter. He didn't want to do court reporting, but he just had to get into the business. So the biggest advice is just getting into the business is hard, but sometimes just you're going to have to start off low, not making a ton of money, and doing something you may not necessarily like, but it'll all pay off because it'll get you where you're going.
Next, we're talking to Clayton Stewart. Clayton Stewart currently works as a photographer and documentarian. He uses his background in photojournalism that he got from the University of St. Mary Communications program to highlight the wonders around the world. Could you give us an idea of what your current career life is like?
So currently I'm the lead photographer and photo editor at a newspaper in Park City, Utah called the Park Record. Outside of that, I consider myself to be a documentary photojournalist as well as a documentary filmmaker.
If you had to pinpoint, what is your favorite part of your job right now?
Getting to kind of step into other people's shoes in a really intimate way has been really special. And the fact that you get to do it with a camera and you build that trust, you really get to see some just, it's almost like magic. You get to see some moments just unfold in front of you that sometimes you hear about, sometimes you read about, but to get to be the person that's sitting there with their camera documenting it. And especially, sometimes it's rewarding. It's not why we do it, but to hear feedback from people you work with after it's published years later. I had a woman tell me one time, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even remember you being here this day. Like, I didn't remember you taking these photos. Like, I'm so glad we have them." So things like that really make it worth it. Again, not why we do it, but it really makes it remind you how special it is, the work I get to do.
Did you utilize your photography skills for JCOM at St. Mary?
Yeah, so that was kind of my go-to with JCOM stuff. It was like I just kind of was always the one that thought, oh, I'll bring my camera, like I'll cover this. JCOM gives you the platform to have a place for those images to go in a traditional documenting news style. We weren't just posting to our own Instagrams. We weren't just kind of like letting things sit on hard drives or as class assignments. Like we really were creating content, putting things out that our peers were looking at and were watching and consuming. You're not just making something for a teacher. You're making something for the general audience, which is the whole goal. It's what you're all working towards. It's what everyone I hope is working towards in that's studying journalism and communications is you're working towards creating things that is beneficial for the masses. It's beneficial and it's educational, it's formative. And so again, like JCOM sets you up for that because it's giving you that platform.
Next, we'll be talking to Rodney Smith, a USM Communications alumni who started his career off at a country music radio station. He has now gone on to host major red carpet country music awards as he continues to make a big name for himself and a big media personality. So far, what has been your biggest achievement in your opinion? And tell me about it.
So I think this last year for my birthday was the first time I got to fly my parents out for the first time to Nashville. And I hosted a big, a writer's shop, basically like a big concert of multiple different artists. And they were able to see, watch me work in person. Like they were watching these celebrity artists come up to me and shaking hands and signing autographs and taking pictures. And they were just like, wow, like this is really your life. And there was a song that one of these artists played that's one of my favorite songs that's like very niched in with family. And I remember the artist saying like, this song wouldn't be what it was without Rodney taking a chance on me as an artist and putting me in this room with a lot of these people. So he played that song and I remember both of my parents crying in the front row because they were just like, damn, like you really did this. Like, this is really your life now. Because again, 4 years ago, I was in a figure it out stage. I slept in my car for a couple of nights. I was working 4 or 5 different jobs just to make it in Nashville because that's what it took. So that's my cliche answer. But my more accolade is probably hosting the CMA red carpet. The CMA Awards red carpet this past year was, I don't know when I'll be able to top that anytime soon, but that was probably one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. I mean, that's one of the biggest country music award shows in the world, and I got to host the red carpet.
Do you have any advice for the students who are aspiring to do similar work that you were doing?
Like the quote that my mentor told me, I mean, like I said, it's literally tatted on me and I live, breathe, and die by it. Go be relevant in everybody's business. Go put yourself out there in any space, like any and every space that you think you might have interest in. If somebody does offer you something, do it. This industry, especially because the industry is changing every day, like social media has changed the world drastically. So it's like you got to evolve with what's evolving. So to do that, you got to go put yourself in so many different spaces and go be relevant in everybody's business. I came to Nashville to be a radio host, and then I walked out as a podcaster, social media influencer, DJ, correspondent, and all the list goes on and on and on. But if I would have stuck on just I want to be a radio host, I would have limited myself in what I could do. And I didn't know I could be a creative director. I didn't know I could do correspondent work or anything like that. So go be relevant in everything, literally everything. Go try everything out. You might learn about a new job that you had no idea was even a thing that you winded up being good at. I mean, take risks because sometimes it's going to make sense.
If you are interested in joining a communications program at St. Mary, check out the website. The link will be in the description. My name is Michael Graham. Have a good day. Thank you for watching.